Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast, a hybrid structure encompassing health, fitness, self-improvement, and entertainment, where no topic is off limits and all opinions are graciously welcomed.
Let's get on with the show!
And now, here's the host of the show, Mike Sinopoli.
This is the MFS Wellness Podcast. I am Mike Sinopoli. Coming towards the end of 2024, I want to put out some gratitude to those who have listened to me all year and in years past. We're going into the fourth year of this podcast, and I couldn't be more grateful for anyone and everyone that listens. It's a crowded space, but you know what? I love doing it. I like putting some things out there. I like the feedback. I enjoy doing this, and if I can help anybody, it means the world to me. So thank you for those that listen and send me feedback, positive, negative, whatever it is. And again, if you want to come on the podcast, just message me. If you have something you want to talk about, something you want to get out there, let's talk. Who cares? It could be anything. Don't have the imposter syndrome like you don't belong. You do. On this podcast, you belong. I don't care what you got going on and what you want to talk about. Just come to me with it. We'll figure something out. Let's do it. That being said, we had some really good feedback from the Divorced Dads of Daughters podcast that I've been doing with Dan Wisniewski, Nick McCucci, the three of us divorced dads, all with two daughters each. That one got some really, really good reactions, and I really enjoyed doing that. Then, therefore, we're going to be doing part 2 of that. That'll probably be the last episode of the year because we're going to be recording that somewhere between Christmas and New Year's. So I'm excited to close the year out with that one and see what we got going with those guys and who else we can help. So that's been fun, and still doing my own ones here, obviously, like today is. And I think this is a good one today because what I'm going to talk about a little bit is delayed gratification and playing the long game with certain aspects of life, like the most important ones. And I think that's something really important to kind of put out there as the New Year approaches, because I believe that we are pretty much conditioned to go ahead and take something on at the New Year, whether it's for our health, our fitness, our relationships, our wealth, whatever it is. I think we take on something that's so extreme because we wait for it. We're waiting around to do it. And there's a way to differentiate, playing the long game and delayed gratification versus actual procrastination of something you just don't want to do. So that's the first step. If you're going to go into the new year, like you want to do something, why are you waiting? Ask yourself first before you even start something or make a decision on what to do. Why are you waiting? If you're listening to this early December, what are you waiting for? Most people are going to say, well, there's too many events coming up. There's too much stuff coming up and I can't do this or that. That's bullshit, because start something now. Start something. Like let's just say you're not working out. Let's just say you are eating like a total pig and you don't feel good, and your steps are like 2,000 every day. So you're not moving, you're not lifting, and you're eating like shit. You probably feel terrible. And that's just what happens. So think about this. Why are you waiting another month or so to get started? You know how much damage you can do to yourself, and you're just going to create a larger hole to jump out of, both physically and mentally and emotionally, at the new year. Okay? Because think about this. Now, you're doing nothing. Start something now. You don't have to don't change overnight. Nothing's changing when the calendar flips. Nothing. The year. That's it. A number. A man-made calendar. A man-made construct is what changes. Nothing changes about you at the new year. Nothing. Literally. It's a fake, okay, I got to do this now. But if you're not into it, if you're not engaged and you're not feeling it, it's not going to work, especially if this is your 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 20th year trying to lose weight at the new year. If your New Year's resolution is not doing it, if you have multiple tries, okay? Never give up. I appreciate that. That's great, but you have to find another way to go about it. So I would say, if you're in that position right now, you're not lifting, you're not moving, you're eating like shit, pick one now. Maybe you want to try to ramp up to 10,000 steps a day by the end of the year. That's progress. Now, at least you got something going behind you. You're not just an ice cold car on January 2nd trying to get started up because you haven't driven since August. Now, at least you've taken a few laps around the neighborhood and that car is a little warmed up and it's going to be a little easier to start and accelerate. You like that analogy? such a dad thing, isn't it? Whatever, but it's true. So do something. Don't make it all at once, because when you think of it all at once, you also get overwhelmed all at once. And it's like, oh, the diet, the gym. When am I going to go? When am I going to walk? How can I walk? I'm stuck at a desk. What can I do? Figure out the walking first. Start. Do that. Figure that out. Okay, this is coming from a guy who had to figure this out himself too, who fucked it all up many times. So I'm not sitting here like, I do this, you can do this. No, I fucked up. I fuck up a lot, and I still do. And I'm not afraid to admit it. So, and a lot of times I fucked up is because I didn't administer delayed gratification, and I didn't focus on the long game. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. And that's kind of where the first thing you want to do is what I was talking about, going into something, like the new year. Is it the long game, or are you procrastinating? What are you doing? So find out if it's a procrastination and do you really want to do this, and make a way for you to be successful with your diet, with your nutrition, with your fitness. That is a you thing. You can get some ideas, but you're going to probably need to piece it together, implement your own preferences in your own life, and create it. And that's what I help people do. So that is the best advice I can give you. So forget the new year, start now, and let's talk about delayed gratification. So delayed gratification is basically something where you have mindfulness, self-regulation, and you have a greater goal in mind than the quick fix, the quick pleasure. And those quick pleasures will fuck up what's most important in your life. And I'm talking health, fitness, wealth, relationships, and other things, and among other things that we could probably throw in here. But I can keep going, but I will definitely just stick to those main facts right there. Those main aspects of life that we're always just going towards. We want to save money. We want to be healthy. We want to look good. We want to move around. We want to live long. We want to have someone we love. We want to be with somebody for a long time. We want to have a real connection. And there's a lot of fucking shit in the way. So I'm going to talk about those now. And I'm not an expert. So I'm going to let you know that I'm going to talk from experience. I'm going to talk from my opinions. I don't have any sort of psychological training, and I don't think you need to have a ton of it to talk about it, to give out your opinion and to help somebody either. So we'll start with what I know the most and the best, which is health and fitness. Okay. First and foremost, what is delayed gratification when it comes to nutrition? What is that? Okay. An example of that is passing on a lot of food, because there's a lot of temptation out there to eat. Okay, if you work in an office, there's going to probably be bagels and donuts and pizza and all this kind of shit laying around all the time, especially around the holidays. Passing on that is knowing that you are not depriving yourself, but you're delaying the gratification to have something else to eat when it's time. And I'll tell you my example that I do on a daily basis for this, and this has helped me more than anything. That's helped me keep myself in shape, because I am a big fat pig at heart. Okay, I want you all to know that. I am a gluttonous fat pig at heart. I want to eat like shit, and I want to eat stuff that tastes fucking unbelievably good, that makes my taste buds explode and feel bliss in that moment. But guess what happens? Once I take the bite of that, it goes into my body and does its thing and comes out and turns to shit. Everything turns to shit. Just remember that when you take a bite of something, it's going to turn to shit. The important part is that piece when it's in your mouth versus becoming shit. Okay? Because that's when the food does what it's going to do within your body. All right? That's the part you want to focus on, not the taste, because you know it's going to taste good and you know it's going to turn into shit. So what are you going to do in between? Okay? That's when you got to eat right, macronutrients and calories for your body composition and nutrients for your internal health and feeling good. That's basically what it is. So what helps me on a daily basis to say no to this shit that I already know is going to either give me a sugar headache, make me feel like crap, and put on weight, I put my favorite meal. I make a meal that I know I like, that I know is regulated. I know what it is, but it tastes fucking good. And I put that at the end of my day. I say, that is it. I have nighttime pasta. And yeah, that's what I do. And I've been doing it for a long time because I love it. I have rigatoni or ziti with a sauce I like, Parmesan. Sometimes, depending on my protein count and where I'm at, I'll throw in some ground beef with it. And I have that meal about 9:15 every night, 9 to 9:15 every night. And the reason I do that is because really two reasons. And the main one here is is about delayed gratifications, because I know that meal is there later. And I've done this with my clients. I said, look, take the meal. We're going to do a meal plan. Make one you really like, and let's put that at the end of the day. Let's just do that. I don't believe in meal timing for any specific reason other than mentally. So what you're doing is tricking yourself, in a sense, into delayed gratification, because if you know that good meal is sitting there at the end of the day, and potentially you can just lay in your bed, watch a show, and eat that, and it's kind of giving you that, okay, like I'm not really like, this isn't like some crazy restrictive diet here. I can eat this. Do that. Because that will help you from making those bad choices throughout the day, because you have that out there. Okay. It's still going to take some work and some self-regulation and self-awareness to do it. And a lot of change, but it's possible. And that's the delayed gratification when it comes to food, and, passing on something that's not necessarily like, good for you. Like another good example is like, why eat the crap that you've had before? Why eat the low quality shit when like maybe that night you're going to a cool restaurant? Like, so like an example of that would be it's Friday. Okay. You're going to work, you're at work, and you've been working on yourself. You're losing a little bit of weight. You're feeling good. And they bring in Domino's pizza or Pizza Hut or some sort of, fast food shit pizza. Okay. You've had that before. It's not going to blow your mind. That it's just going to be there to, satisfy your taste buds, and that's the end of that. So then what happens is, now if you eat that, now you're putting yourself in a sluggish way. So many calories go in. Then you have the dinner later, and now you've doubled down, and now you've doubled essentially the amount of calories you would have taken in by not saying no to that shit. What the delayed gratification there is, wait a minute, I'm going to a nice new restaurant later that I'm actually looking forward to. I've never been there. I can't wait to eat that. So fuck Pizza Hut, because I've had this before and I don't need it. So that's where you would go. And that's a delayed gratification right there in itself. It's also, that's kind of like setting value to food. And this is literally, so you might think I'm crazy, but our society has gotten so abundant with food that we are actually blessed and privileged to have to do this. We are blessed and privileged to have to regulate our food. We came from a species. We are a species that used to have to go out, and the main objective of the day was to hunt and go get food. That was the job. That was what it was. Can you imagine having to do that right now? We would be fucked as a society. Absolutely fucked, because we just haven't lived like that. Not our fault. And I think it's great that we don't have to do it. And I never want to be like that. But with these advancements in technology, in food production, in food availability, and in how the food is made, every time they advance something, we probably have to take on a new self-responsibility, which would be regulating the food ourselves and figuring that part out. Because the same thing with like anything that keeps you from not moving, like moving away from the diet gratification, like the fitness side of it, and the mobility side of it. Okay, so every time they come up with a new app that makes you not have to get up off the couch, that means there's a new reason for you to have to get up off the couch. Okay, because like think about something like Instacart. Okay, if you go and you order your groceries online, and you just put it in the app, you're laying on the couch, hit send, bam, a shopper gets sent out, they put your shit together, they drop it off at your porch. I think that's great that exists. I think that is a wonderful time saver. I don't think it should be the regular way to do it. I think you should go to the store yourself, from a monetary standpoint, and from just the fact that you can probably get 2,000 to 3,000 extra steps in for the day just by going grocery shopping and walking around the store a little bit and getting your groceries in and out. I think that's like, now think about that. So they create the app. You're still trying to get your steps in, but now guess what? You have to go for a walk now, because you are taking all the steps out of your day from the grocery store. Now you have to replace those with movement on your own. Okay. And there's no purpose other than for yourself, because you're not going to get that stuff. And Amazon too, Amazon's great. You don't have to go to the store. I need something. Buy this, bam, it's there. It shows up fast too. If you have Prime and things are available within same day or next day. So every time something like that is put together, then you don't have to move as much. And what's going to happen with AI, and now you got these crazy robots Elon Musk showing, and all this other stuff. We're not going to, in 50 years, we might not even have to move for anything. We just sit there. That's not healthy. That's not good. I'm going to get into an AI one I took some polls on that, and I still have to do the episode, but I'm trying to get a little more familiarized and find some more interesting facts about that. But, let me tell you, that's the thing, though. And with training, it never ends. Nutrition, it never ends, okay? So the delayed gratification with health is never ending. That's one of the most important places to delay your gratification. And what I mean by delayed gratification when it comes to fitness, it's like you might not want to get up and go to the gym, all right? But, you're going to be happy you did later, okay? Because the delayed gratification is the sitting on the couch later in the day, knowing you got your workout in. And then the further gratification to that, that's even more delayed, is the results from that. Those are different forms of gratification that you need to, in the moment. You can't succumb to the gratification of blobbing on the couch, staying inside, scrolling your phone with Netflix on in the background, as badly as you want to do it, as comforting as that sounds. I get it. I've done it. I've still done it. I did it this year. It felt like shit. It felt stupid. I'm like, why the fuck didn't I go? So that's literally the delaying of the gratification of that, and playing the long game and making those right decisions, and you're going to be happy. And then that's when and it's such a more rewarding gratification. That's another thing. Laying in the couch and blobbing, it probably feels good for the first hour. And then you start to realize, holy shit, I'm just like feeling like a bum right now. I haven't showered. I haven't left the house. I'm just sitting here and I haven't gone and done shit. And that's eventually that gratification has a negative. A lot of the instant gratification has a bad result to it. There's a kicker to them all. It's like blobbing around. And I'll get to all of them as I go through them. And the same thing, goes with the food that I was talking about. Like you could eat, this big sugar thing, and then all of a sudden you're still hungry. You just put 750 calories and you got a minor headache and you're not full and you feel like shit. Now that was good while it was on your tongue, but like we said, it's in your body doing what it's going to do, and it's going to turn to shit just like everything else. So think about that. And then the same thing with the fitness. Just get up and go, and you're going to feel a better sense of satisfaction when you're done, instead of that sluggish shit. And then you start getting down on yourself mentally and emotionally, and that leads to a lot of problems of low self-worth, which leads to eating, which leads to substances, okay, which leads to all kinds of stupid shit. That's another thing too. Substances are the king when it comes to delayed gratification and instant fixes. So you're feeling good. Just yesterday I was stressed out, okay? I'm not going to lie. I've been trying not to drink alcohol again. As many of you know, I had stopped drinking for almost 2 years. I picked it back up again. Not proud of it. Have I changed anything? I regulated it, which is if there's really a thing. I'm a little bit on the edge, on the fence about it. I just think it's overall a toxin, and I still believe that. So I do feel a little hypocritical still indulging in wine here and there, and maybe a beer here or there. But I have changed my consumption rate a bit. I don't drink as much, and I'm not as I was getting blitzed and wasted before. Whereas now I have something in me that changed where I can stop myself when it gets to a point. And I pretty much have never had to get like an Uber or anything of the sort to get home. So that is a success. But again, I was stressed out yesterday, and I wanted to open a bottle of wine and start drinking it because I was stressed. Now I didn't. And I'm proud of myself for not, because I know that's delayed gratification. I have the feeling right now is that I didn't succumb to that. I feel good about myself. Like overcame something. And what was that wine going to do for me in the moment? Was it going to give me a little bit of a relief? Yeah, it was going to give me a relief for about an hour. Then I needed another. Then I need another one and another one. And then guess what? Now I'm feeling dehydrated, headache, maybe bloated, and I'm like, what did I do this for? And then that wears off. And then you just are left back to where you were. It didn't solve anything. It just masked it for a little while, really. That's what substances do. Drugs, alcohol, which is a drug. That's what that does. So any substance like that, anything like that is totally trying to, is anti delayed gratification. It's instant gratification. And then it has those negative effects afterwards. Going into the other aspects of this. Now, we all know, I think you guys understand where that is with health and fitness. Okay. I think that makes sense. Wealth is another big one. like looking at get rich quick schemes. They're all out there. It's crazy. Now, again, I'm not a financial expert, but what I do know is saving money, putting money into a growth account that gets 8 to 10%, like an IRA, maybe an index fund, putting money in there is unbelievably necessary with compound interest being involved. And the track record that some of these index funds and these where the IRAs are at and everything, these things grow and they start to grow exponentially. The hard part is when you put your money into an IRA or into your savings or into the index fund, it's boring as shit. Okay. You don't, it's like, here's my money. And then you don't get anything for it. Whereas if you go buy something, you get something for your money. And then instantly you have something in exchange for the money. And that's if you pay it off. Otherwise, if you don't, like a car or something big, a home that's out of your range, other things, clothing, things, materialistic bullshit that just depreciates and creates interest because you had to take out a loan for it. Like a car is a great idea, when that's that $50,000 car, you can just pay $500-600 a month for it on these terms and this rate. But when you look at that and you start saying, and you look at the long game, you're actually paying like $110,000 for the car or something, depends on your interest rate. But think about that. Now, if you take it the other way and you start paying yourself and putting it into a investment account, now you have $110,000 over the same term in the bank. And that's there. But some people don't have the mentality of, why? Well, I want the car. I don't care. What am I going to do then? Go buy the car with the 110? I don't know. All I know is that freedom comes with time, and having money buys time. It buys not time, like more time, but your time away from a boss, away from a job, away from having to work. And with the way that things have inflated, and who knows where it's going to go, nobody knows. Typically when this stuff goes up, it doesn't come down very much, and shit's just going to be wildly expensive. And I don't think that you're getting paid to compensate for this. Taxes are out of control, as we know, as well. So putting your money away, you're going to be very happy one day when you're 60 something years old, maybe sooner, and you don't have to go to work anymore, because you're going to be pissed off because that car that you pissed all that money away on is now gone and depreciated, and you got nothing for it. And now you had to go and buy another one the same way. And now you're in debt on that. But you got to keep paying for it because you don't want it repoed, because you got to still get to work because you're still working because you didn't save. And your 30-something-year-old boss, while you're 60 with his ego problem, is telling you what to do and how to live your life. I don't want to be there. I don't want some punk boss telling me what to do when I'm 60. And that's not going to happen for me. I can't allow that to happen. That's why I invest. That is why I invest my money. That, and to have something to leave for my children. That is the delayed gratification I take on when it comes to wealth, because the day I can hang it up and say, I don't have to set an alarm. I don't have to get up and go and do this. I don't want to listen to this boss. I don't want to hear this ego. I need to get myself away from these toxic people. And in a sense, that's really, really what money becomes to me. It becomes units of freedom. Every dollar is a unit of freedom to me. Everyone has their own different thought of freedom, of what it is. And that's fine, because I think that's a subjective term, freedom. So, I mean, that's where I'm going with wealth. You can buy shit and buy shit and buy shit and buy shit, and it'll turn to shit. What does your car turn into after years? It depreciates, it breaks, it causes more money to put into it. You need a new transmission. That's like $5-6 grand. You need your tires replaced, $700. You need all kinds of stuff done to this thing to maintain it. While you're paying the payments and the interest on it, you can sink 6 figures into the wrong car if that's the case. So anyways, that's what I'm telling you about wealth. Pay yourself. Don't pay interest if you can avoid it. It's not easy to do. Get yourself there. It's not easy. None of this is easy. That's why it's hard. The delayed gratification of not buying the new car and getting something that you can pay off right away that's used is a way better way to go, when you can make the payments or partial payments and put that into your portfolio, grow that shit so you can tell your boss to go fuck off someday in so many ways. I have a great boss right now. I don't want to shit on it. And that's not who I'm talking about. I've had some people in the past where I was like, whoa, I need to get out of this. So, but currently I don't have that. I have a great boss right now. So I wanted everyone to know that. But either way, at some point you're going to want to get out of the game and stop playing, because the game is stressful, and the game, the game can suck, and there's a lot more to live for in life, whether it be, just traveling or hobbies or just, relationships. And, relationships are another aspect that needs this sort of long-term success and this delayed gratification, because if you're going to get into a relationship with somebody and commit, whether it's you're going to get married or you're just want to be exclusive with one person, it's not cool, right? Like, we have so much to we have so much at our disposal on our phones now, as far as like humans, with social media, those dating apps, just all kinds of crap. Pornography that people can access, like easier than ever. Like when I was a kid, you wanted to look at a pair of boobs, you had to go sneak into your friend's brother's room and grab a magazine and then look at it. And then that was that. But now with the internet, you can look at all kinds of despicable shit. But anyways, that aside, like the thing is like with delayed gratification with this, it's sexual, right? Like, so, everyone's got that like feeling, you have a feeling, that libido, and you got to think about that. That's is one of the hardest ones for some people, is to not react to that or feel deprived in a sense. You have to realize like, hey, is this quick rendezvous with somebody, is this going to be worth the lifetime of guilt, the potential destruction of a relationship that I've worked hard at and I care about? Because then if you're going to do that, you might not care about this relationship as much as you believe you should or do. So sex is a vice, and that is something that can be a very quick and short, ending to something that you want to keep forever, which is a relationship with your spouse or whatever. So like if you actually care about that person, it's going to be easy to put that away, easier, especially. So, I'm not a relationship expert, so I have a hard time. If you're wondering why I'm just kind of like with this one here, it's because I'm not a relationship expert. I'm working in my own ways. And when you get divorced, you have to self-reflect a lot. Divorce has a lot of blame to it. So it's a lot easy. The egos can get out there and blame, and it's ugly. But, like anything else, it's a two-way street. Most people don't want to self-assess. I have. And yeah, I could say, hey, I haven't been perfect at all. And to think I have and to say you have is a lie. I can almost say that no matter what, in any relationship that ends, usually two people are to blame for it, in a sense. But a lot of times it's this lack of delayed gratification. It doesn't just have to be infidelity or cheating or anything like that. It could just be one person has to feel right, has to feel control. That control is instant gratification, where instead of sitting down, talking, going to therapy and doing things like that, that's playing the long game and delaying the gratification, which comes with a successful relationship that is, built upon trust, honesty, and actual love. And I get it. Like we live in a society that people are just obsessed with self. Dudes are just like, hey man, I can get this girl or that girl and that, and it's kind of like, fuck, well, like, great, good for you. Who cares? And some people are just on the other end. They're using sex as because they're broken and they don't know how to feel good about themselves in any way. So they start going around, sleeping around, and eventually they come to the realization that they need to be in that sexual presence in that mode to even have any sort of feeling of happiness. And the problem there is that usually when that's over with and done, there's a shame sense that comes in, and it's just like eating the cookie or drinking the drink. It has a hangover feeling to it, and it's not good. So that, and then these things all lead to sicknesses as well. Like if you eat like shit, you can get type 2 diabetes, heart disease, Sexual intercourse has its own things, all kinds of stuff. You can always see that there's a repercussion when it comes to these types of things. So, bottom line here, delayed gratification is extremely important and necessary, and it's hard. It's going to feel like deprivation. I think determining a difference between the two, between delayed gratification and deprivation, is huge. So, know if you're being deprived. If you're feeling deprived, talk to somebody. Like, for instance, if you're on a diet and you're feeling deprived on the diet, take on a coach, take on someone like me. I feel deprived. What can I do? Then, okay, let's figure it out. How are you not going to feel deprived? And are you actually deprived right now? Or is it just hard right now? Same thing with like relationships. Okay. Talk to your significant other and just say, hey, I'm feeling this. This is what I'm feeling. Instead of just going to take action yourself, and basically damaging yourself and this relationship, go ahead and talk to somebody about it. Talk to a therapist, talk to your significant other. Same thing goes for wealth. Hey, I don't know. I feel like I'm saving my money, but it feels like it's slow and stupid and all this other stuff. And it does get like that. It does take time. You're going to be investing in it. It grows so slowly at first, but then once you accumulate enough, it starts to explode in the market, especially in a bull market when it gets good. So these are things where you might need a coach or somebody to help you with health and fitness, a trainer, wealth as a financial advisor, relationships, or a therapist. There's always somebody there that can help you with this before you go ahead and turn to something else, the other extreme. And that's another part of going so extreme, is that if you go too extreme to one side, like, for instance, if you are too restrictive in a diet, then you might be more likely to go all the way to the other way, to eat like a gluttonous person again. So these are little things to remember when you're going through stuff. And if it feels like it's going to help you right in the moment, stop and think. That's what I did with the wine yesterday. Is this going to help me right now? Or am I just medicating a feeling that I don't want to deal with that's going to actually work against me in the long run? That's sort of how you have to think about it. It's still going to feel like deprivation. I felt like I was depriving myself of some relief yesterday when I didn't have wine at night. Then I realized I wasn't even like, why am I even that stressed? Like, what was stressing me out? A few little things, a couple little things that didn't fucking matter, a work-related instance, and a piece of technology wasn't functioning correctly the way I wanted it to. That's what it was. But guess what? The technology piece worked itself out later. And the work-related thing is just part of the gig. It's just part of the job. And it's happened before. So what doesn't solve either, alcohol, wine, wasn't going to solve the technology problem and the work problem. It wasn't. It was going to poison my system, give me a false sense of comfort, and then come back probably 2 or 3-fold afterwards, and I'll feel like shit. So that's the way I think of things. It's not particularly fun at times, but it's rewarding after the fact. And, these aren't things we're going to get a lot of accolades for or praise. It's what we're supposed to do. That's another thing. Like, no one's going to give you a medal for not cheating on your wife or your husband for 10 years. Oh, you made it. All right. What are you expecting? A pat on the back, a prize, a medal, a hall pass? What are you thinking? No, you just do it. You don't celebrate it. Look at me, I did that. Good for you. That's what you committed to that. Same thing with wealth. You know what? What are you going to get? Oh, I've been saving for this. Saving. Yeah, okay, fine. Treat yourself to something if you'd like. But at the same time, what's the payoff? The payoff is the compound interest that you've accumulated. It's the potential freedom, time freedom, financial freedom you've done. Health and fitness. What do you get for 10 years of being health and fit? Are you going to get a reward? Are you going to get a medal? No. You're going to get a body you like to look at in the mirror. You're going to get a functioning, moving person who can take care of their kids and grandkids. You're going to get low odds at chronic illness. Those are some pretty good payoffs for the long run, I think. So what you're not going to get that through casual sex, through alcohol, and other vices, and spending on materialistic garbage that depreciates and becomes a full liability. So that's my spiel for the day. December 6th, like we said, these, just to kind of wrap it up a little bit, but boy, the years are flying by, and I know it's something I talk about a lot. I have a very big, feeling around time, and I feel it pass. It's weird. It's a very weird feeling. So, this is like, it's scary to people, and the time just like, wow, this year just, where did it go? You start looking at pictures and you're like, oh, that last year, no, it was 3 years ago. It's just like, it just kind of goes. So, use that. If time is passing fast, use that to your advantage, because time is your greatest asset, right? When all this stuff that we're talking about here, time is everything around it. Whether time exists on its own or not, we have a perception and a construct of it. All right. Because, the longer you are at it with fitness, the longer you're at it with eating right, the better the results. The longer you invest, the greater the return. The longer you're with somebody in a positive way, in a good, healthy relationship, the better that becomes. So time is, if it's going to move fast, and it can feel sick and scary, but hey, use that to your advantage, to where you don't need the gratification. Be like, well, look, I'm not going to do it. The time goes by so fast. What do I care about this right now for? I'll just do. It's going to be 10 years is going to go by in a blink, and that's what it does. So anyways, coming up for the new year, if you are looking to take on a coach, I am doing this, and I'm doing it in a fashion of you, the individual. So, I have my rates that I start with, but we're going to be talking about putting something together for you that fits your life, as well as financially, not just what needs to be done as far as meal planning, specific foods, weight loss, fat loss goals, training regimens, things like that. All that is great. I also am going to be, free to negotiate a price for yourself, and make something work that we can agree on. So I do payment plans and no interest and all that good stuff. Also going to be putting it out there that if you do know anybody that wants to take on a trainer, a coach of any kind, if you send them over to me, they sign 10%. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be giving 10% to the referral person. So whether you are a client or not, so you're going to get 10%. So if they sign up for, so say it's a $500 program, then you get $50. That's how it works. So we're going to do that. And if you need to contact me, I'm on social media at MFS Wellness, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. Mike at MFS Wellness is my email address. So talking delayed gratification, keep that stuff in the front of your mind all the time, not the back, the front. Delayed gratification. Does this serve me in the moment, or am I medicating? Ask yourself that. Make that your New Year's resolution. Simple. Instead of to lose 20 pounds for the 15th time in a row, I'm going to administer delayed gratification. I'm going to ask myself in a moment, is this worth it for now? How will I feel in 10 minutes? How will I feel in 10 days and 10 years from doing this? So I'll leave you with that. I will be back again with a few more episodes for the end of the year. And I, again, want to just put my gratitude out there to those of you who have listened. I appreciate it so much. And until we come back with another one, I will talk to you then.